My stepfather, who's also a musician, has this timeless joke, which is, how do you ruin a musician's day? You offer them a gig. And I always laugh when I say that, and I think about him because he's always says that to me anytime I've talked about having a gig and complaining about something. And there seems to be something really universal about musicians. When you have a gig, all these things you have to prepare and you get stressed out, and all of us like to kind of bellyache sometimes about gigs. Well, an interesting thing happened last week where I had the chance to ruin my stepfather's gig. Not his gig, but it ruined my stepfather's day by offering him a gig. And to make, again, a long story short, I was playing some shows with an artist named Cara Granger. She's a great singer-songwriter from Australia, great guitarist, but we really haven't played that much together, and we were playing a big festival gig, and we really could have used another voice. I think it was actually my second time ever playing with her, and most of the songs we hadn't even played or rehearsed, and we just had a bass player and a guitarist, and we were driving to this gig. We were spending a weekend together driving, playing in Delaware, New Jersey, and Wheeling, West Virginia. Our first gig in Delaware was canceled. Then we played a gig in New Jersey that, it kind of just really wasn't gelling. All of us agreed with that. And then we got up the next day and drove to Wheeling, West Virginia. And I happened to mention to her that my stepfather was a really good musician and a keyboard player. And her eyes kind of brightened up and she says, ask him to play with us, because my parents live about maybe an hour away from this gig we were playing in Wheeling, West Virginia. So I asked my old man a couple days beforehand, and he was like, I asked him via text, and his response was, ugh. And I could hear him kind of bitching and moaning about it. But after some back and forth, Cara was really saying, hey, can your dad play with us? That would be really great. I got him to agree to play with us. And my parents, I haven't played with my stepfather probably in like 15 years. I don't think my parents have seen me play music in probably like 10 years or so. And I had a couple concerns going into this. Mainly is that last time I played with my stepfather, I probably was a different musician. I probably was a lot younger, a lot less experienced, a lot less seasoned. My ears weren't the same. And now it's like I feel like I'm, more developed. I'm a professional. This is what I do for a living. And I was almost afraid, I was afraid that kind of when you were growing up, a hard part about growing up is realizing that your parents have flaws. Your parents are fallible. They make mistakes. I think every boy at one time or another thinks that their father's the strongest or the smartest or the best in the world at something, because that's what we're conditioned to do. And I was afraid that playing with my stepfather, I looked up to him growing up. He gave me lots of great lessons. Primary reason why I'm a musician today. I was afraid that he would have lost his fastball, or maybe he never had it in the first place, or maybe he wasn't that good and was going to embarrass me. Just because I haven't played with him in so long. Also, I played a gig earlier this year when I was on tour going out west, and actually the headliner band had their dad play with them, and it was bad. Like, it was really embarrassing, and I was afraid of that. Also, it was a gig I haven't, like, a lot of the songs I was playing for the first time along with my stepfather, so it was kind of a risk. And I'm really surprised Cara, the artist, took that risk. But we showed up at the gig about, hour or two beforehand. My stepdad showed up about 45 minutes beforehand. We didn't have time to really rehearse. We were able to talk a couple things down, but it was just kind of like, all right, let's see what happens. And I think Kara even forgot my stepfather's name before I had him come on the stage, and she turned around and I told her his name, and he came out, and probably within like the first 15, 20 seconds, I was like, oh shit, like this is gonna work. This is gonna be really good. And it was freaking great. Um, it was just as good as I remembered. He was just as good as I remembered. And what's even more, I wouldn't say surprising, but more just, I don't know, just makes me smile even more, was that we were both playing. It took us very little time to like figure, like I wasn't trying to figure him out, but he would play something and I would like, or I would play a fill at the same time as him, or I would play something, some kind of variation that he was going to do at the same time, like rhythmically, musically, in terms of phrasing. Is like I was saying we were completing each other's sentences. I mean, I grew up with him for 18 years. I mean, he essentially raised me from the time I was like 2, I think. Uh, so I grew up listening to his music. He grew up, or I he heard me play all those years. I played with him when I was a kid, up until I left home for college. And then like my parents have never really got to see me play that much in the last decade, because either I was touring away from home, or it's just I gave up on music for a big chunk of that time. And it was, we picked up just like, it was old times, like it was yesterday, and we just clicked like that. Um, I don't click with a lot of people like that on that level immediately, and he and I are just like boom. So it was freaking awesome, and it was really awesome to see my mother actually in the crowd, and she was just smiling so brightly because she hadn't seen me play in a while. She got to see, and she hadn't seen me and my stepdad play in a while, and she was clapping along and dancing, and she clapped on 2 and 4, which made me very happy because I hate it when people clap on 1 and 3. But yeah, it was, you know, I could talk about all of these things, but man, it was probably one of the best memories I've had as a musician in a long time, probably in my top 10. Just because, I mean, playing with your family, if you were raised by a parent who played music, or if you played music with a family member, there's some kind of bond, some kind of connection, some kind of, oh, we're speaking the same language, because really music is about interpreting and reacting to a human experience. And when you share so close of a human experience with someone in your family, there's gonna be a lot of things that I think you just connect to on a, just a instantaneous level. And it was also like, a lot of times we think our parents, or particularly boys with their dads, think that they're Superman. Sometimes it's hard to realize that they're not. And it was really cool to like, oh, he is that good, right? Like, oh, he is a badass. Cool. I was right the whole time, or that's what I thought the whole time. And um, it's also really rewarding for my parents, to be able to see me playing music again, see me play it on bigger stages, seeing me kind of resume my career. Um, yeah, again, like the past year or 2 has been kind of rough, trying to figure out who I am, what I'm going to be, and making the decision to go back to playing music full time. And it took a little bit of a leap of faith. And it's still like, I'm loving every minute of what I'm doing. I'm working really hard, and it's still a little bit scary in terms of, okay, I quit my job, which is paying me pretty well, to take a chance on music, but it's kind of really who I am. And probably a reason why I kind of kept my distance from friends and family over the past several years is because I wasn't playing music. And that's not like, I didn't want people to see like this fake version of myself, maybe. And so it was really, really cool and really rewarding for my family to be able to see, oh, he's coming back around. He is, he's doing what he loves to do. And also getting to do it with probably like the biggest musical influence of my life. because I wouldn't be nearly the musician I am today without, my stepfather's guidance. Without him, I mean, I still hear his voice when I play certain tunes or certain grooves or certain styles. Like, I remember him picking me up from school and, like, putting in a seat. He's like, all right, here's your music lesson for the day. And just, like, telling me about, like, playing on the one for the P-Funk, or, like, telling me how to swing on a bassy tune. Or, just being exposed to a lot of different styles of music. So I know I'm jabbering on like a monkey in a tree, and I don't expect everyone to watch it this far. But people who are watching, or people who know me, or people who know my stepfather, or seen this, for a long time and have seen some version of us play together. Or maybe you're just interested in, oh, what's it like to play with your family? But yeah, I love playing music. And then it's always really, really easy. Like, it's always been really easy to play with my old man. Maybe not easy for him because I was a little bit of a wild one growing up. But it's, as a professional, yeah, it's always been easy to play with him. And I got a bunch of messages the next day from people who saw it maybe online or saw it live, and they were like, man, your old man can really play. You like, so it was, I mean, I could talk forever about this. I'm not going to go back and edit this because I just want to put this on record and say, yeah, it's cool playing with your family. So don't have a tagline still. Don't have a sign off. If you like what I'm doing, please, like, subscribe, comment, all that other superfluous crap.